Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Off the Hook with Maddie D. My guest today has two things similar with me, but I truly think that she is much better than me. Let me show you what I mean. This is Amanda Holly, who is the morning meteorologist at WFLA in Tampa, Florida. That is our station there. And she is also an avid angler. And it is my pleasure to bring in Amanda Holly from WFLA. Good morning, Amanda. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to join you today.
Oh, thanks so much. I really appreciate this. So we met, I guess maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I was down at your station helping out with a hurricane that never hit. I started to follow you on Instagram, and all of a sudden I'm seeing tons of fishing pictures, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is like a great thing. Weather and fish. What an idea. I wish I thought of that. Oh, wait, I did. So first, give me a little background about yourself. You're a meteorologist. How long have you been with WFLA?
Been here almost 6 years now. In June will be 6 years, which is crazy. Been a meteorologist for about 10. I love the weather. I love being outside. Those two correlate, right? And I've been fishing pretty much my entire life, but definitely love my job, as you know, Matt. It's
Yeah.
different every day, and it's an interesting one.
It is interesting for sure. We get to track all kinds of, I mean, you guys get wild, severe weather down there, obviously inundated by hurricanes. This past year, you had so many close calls again. Seems like every year the west coast of Florida is like under the gun, right? Yeah.
Which is weird because it's very hard for hurricanes to hit our coastline from Tampa, to point south. It just requires a very specific set of circumstances. And last year was definitely a rough one for our coast. We're hoping this year it's not quite as bad.
Right.
It impacted, our fishing industry quite a bit for
Mhm.
a long time as well. And obviously the impacted a lot of folks along the coast too. Busy hurricane season for us. We are hoping that it is quiet this year.
Yeah, I'm sure I could understand that. So let's talk a little bit about fishing. So as a meteorologist, you love to be outside. When did you start fishing? How did you get the inspiration? Was it like dad, mom, brother, sister?
Yeah, so it's funny. I was reading through the list of questions here, and I was like, the question was on there. When did you start fishing? And I was like, well, I don't know. I've been fishing for as long as I can remember. I literally called my mom and I was like, when was the first time you handed me a fishing pole? And she was like, maybe like two. Maybe you were two. And I was like, okay, so really young. And I definitely don't remember it. She was like, we probably were on a bridge somewhere because we liked to be outside and
Mhm.
we went fishing and you took it up. And then I had the opportunity to my stepdad's stepdad, so my random grandpa, he lived on the water, and I took every advantage of that I could. And he just had a little dock on this teeny little canal, and I was there all the time, and I caught hardly anything. It was a lot of catfish and a lot of ladyfish and the occasional super baby redfish, which at the time I didn't really know. But I loved it, and I kept going back. And now, obviously, I've gotten a lot better experience of what else there is to offer. And every time I catch a new fish, I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And even when I catch a ladyfish, or a catfish, still, it's just, I don't know. It's just it's a fun hobby.
It is a very fun hobby. And I think you hit on something there. You know, every time you catch something, it brings you back to that kind of young childhood. This is so cool, right? You get that adrenaline pump and you're deep in the moment. And you have so many different species of fish from your intercoastal waters to just off into the bay. It really gives you a wide variety.
It does. Well, I'm lucky enough to live. So I live in the Tampa area. I grew up in Sarasota along the coast, and we have an amazing fishery here in on the west coast of Florida, but also have had the opportunity to go down to the Keys and do a lot of fishing there. That's a picture just recently that I took. That snook there was from the Everglades
Mhm.
and was there last weekend. And we have an amazing fishery down there as well. So there's a lot of inshore fish that we can catch here. We do a lot of offshore fishing as well. Me and my husband, I was lucky enough to marry into a family of fishermen who had big boats to take me offshore away from the docks of the intercoastal. And now we catch big fish that are even, more fun to catch. And we do a lot of fishing in the Keys. We catch mahi, we catch tuna down there. We go lobstering. You saw a couple of pictures of lobster down there. So everything about the water is I love it. Whether I'm in the water catching the fish, there's some pictures of scallops in there as well. One of our
Yep.
favorite trips. Or we're on the water on the boat fishing. It's so fun. I mean, the red grouper here, the fishery, they put up a huge fight. Every fish is different, and I think that that's what keeps you coming back.
It does. It really is interesting. So your husband is an avid angler as well. So that's a marriage made in heaven right there. Honey, what do you want to do today? Let's go fishing.
Every single day. He probably gets sick of me asking to go on the boat, asking to go fishing. It's not very often that you find someone, obviously the husband usually likes to fish all the time and leaves the wife at the dock. And I'm like, nah, you're not allowed to go fishing without me.
Right.
So it really was a match made in heaven. We actually met in high school. And so we started out fishing from his parents' 13 Boston whaler in our little bay that we had. And we did a lot of inshore fishing and I loved it. Again, it got me away from the dock. So I was able to catch a little different of species, right? You got your trout, you got your little bigger redfish and your snook, little snappers inshore, little groupers inshore. And then we were able to go out on his parents' bigger boat offshore. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I knew I loved fishing. But then you catch a red grouper that, pulls you into the rocks and it's everything that you can to lift it out. And it's just it's awesome to go out there and then to have a person to do it with, right? Because
Right.
I've learned a lot from my husband Wayne. He has fished his whole life as well. I didn't do as wide of a variety of fishing as he did growing up, but now I have all that experience and we do it together and it's super fun.
That's super, super awesome. I love that story. I noticed a lot of your fishing is spin fishing. Have you ever tried fly fishing? Because you have some really great water down there for that as well.
We have an amazing fishery for fly fishing. I have never tried it.
Mhm.
We learn a lot from YouTube. We watch a lot of YouTube videos
Right.
on how to do a different fishery, how to catch a different type of fish. We have a couple of fly fishing poles. We have never, I mean, Wayne has, I have never ventured into it. I know you do it a ton.
Yep.
I'm going to need to get some tips from you because it's definitely takes a whole different technique
Yeah.
and requires a whole new level of patience too.
Right. So it's an art to fly fish for sure. I think spin fishing. Look, they're both had their own techniques, right? I think your hookup rate for spin can be greater than fly. Fly, you can really work a lot for fewer hookups, but I think the reward is like, holy cow, this just happened, right?
Oh yeah,
So yeah.
I agree. I mean, when you get that, and then your reel is totally different of how you get your fish back in. And once you land that fish, I imagine it is a high reward.
Yeah, because while there's a drag system, it's very different than the spin reel, which is a much more robust drag, so they have made improvements in dragging. So when you're fishing for fish, and I'm going to bring up a picture here, this is a red snapper. Are you casting out and are you retrieving in, or are you also trolling as well for some of these fish?
It's a different technique really for all the fish that we catch. So the red grouper and the red snapper, we bottom fish. So we
Okay.
send a line down with a big 6 ounce, 8 ounce weight with a hook on it. And then that's all bottom fishing that
Okay.
we do. And they're, in the rocks that we have down here, we have this great fishery that's off our coast. Now we have to go far to get these fish. We have to go at least 25 miles off our coast
Wow.
to even begin to get a fish like this. And usually the red snapper, that one is more like 50 to 60 miles because our coastline is so shallow for so far out. But we bottom fish. So we send the line down all the way down. We're in 100 to 150 feet of water and we're drifting over these spots. And, as soon as you feel the hookup, you literally just start to wind. We use a circle hook and it hooks them usually really good. So we're not necessarily casting out for these.
Okay.
We do a lot of trolling in the keys on the humps,
Mhm.
and that we're trolling for mahi and tuna because there's these big mounds in the keys of sediment in the Gulf Stream. And literally the Gulf Stream hits these mounds and will come up and over and it pushes all the nutrients up. And you can literally see, we're in 1,000 feet of water, but the water literally boils at the top. And it's a huge fishery there. A bunch of boats go there, but you get rewarded. That's a huge tuna that we caught on the humps last year, and that is all trolling. And we literally troll these like I should have brought one, but they're like black worms.
Okay.
When the fish are looking up, right, at these things trolling in your wash, they see it because they're looking at the blue sky and it's a nice contrast. So like I get it, but I'm like, this is what you want to eat? It works. It produces.
And that's the whole key. It does produce for sure. Couple of pictures you mentioned, the scallops. I want to go back to that. So with scallops and with the lobster, you're going in water and just, you know, shallows and all kinds of stuff, right?
Yeah, so that's it. I mean, it's, you know, a fishery of some sort, right? But we get in the water. So scallops, I like to describe as an Easter egg hunt underwater. It's a super fun activity for the family. We go north up to Steenhatchee or Crystal River, and they're everywhere. And they're little bay scallops, so they're not quite the scallops that you get at the store. Those are usually pretty big, but they are. It's just a fun activity to go do for a couple of days. You take the boat out. You're in like 3 feet of water, so you're just snorkeling, and everyone can do it, and that's fun. We usually come back with a bag or two, and
Mhm.
we have a couple of scallop pasta meals.
Uh,
And then the lobstering we do in the Keys, we usually go for mini season for that. That takes a little more skill, and we sometimes snorkel, we sometimes scuba dive. The picture of that one, we scuba dove a couple years ago. That's me and my sister, and she also loves to fish like me. So I don't know, it must run in our family. But we caught those on scuba diving down there in the Keys, and they're just on big rocks, and you use a little tickle stick and you tickle them out. So type of fishery, if you will.
so once you tickle them out, are you just grabbing them or are you spearing them? What
You
are you doing at that point?
So you see the nets
Okay.
behind us.
Yeah.
So you actually, um, so if they're in like their little hole, they have their little antennas peeking out.
Right.
And what you do is you get behind them with their tickle stick and you tickle them out. They walk out of their rock, and now they're exposed. And now you come in and put the net over them.
Got
You
it.
can try and catch them with your hand. You're going to have a less successful rate. But
Right.
then, you know, once they're in the net, you can grab them that way and measure them and
Gotcha.
then put them in the boat.
Very, very, very cool. All right. So I'm going to bring up a video here, and I think this is the video that I want to bring up. One, you're catching stuff. This is you in the Everglades last weekend. You just got back from there. I
Couple
was
of
in,
days ago.
it's an incredible fishery, first of all. I mean, and the different wildlife that you see. I was there back in early March. I mean, I thought like I want to live there to go back. I mean, obviously I want to live there, but you know, to fish there is incredible. I mean, beautiful redfish, by the way.
No, I mean, so we were talking before the show here. We go every year. This is our annual trip. We go for 3 nights. And at the beginning of the video, it'll loop around. You'll see the docks that we pull up to.
Mhm.
We stay out there for 3 nights. We leave civilization. We're 30 miles from the nearest anything.
Yep.
And we stay out there for 3 nights. So we bring all the food, all the water that we need, and we have to bring it out with us as well. And it's the best trip. But normally we go in February. And it's nice, but we go there because of the bugs at that time.
Mhm.
Couldn't get there till April, mid-April this time. And we did so well. And I think it was a result of the water temperatures being a little bit warmer. And as you said, Matt, the fishery you heard down there is a little bit better this time of year. But we caught so many fish. I mean, all the snook, all the redfish, all the trout that we wanted. I got an Everglades slam, which is super fun. Saw a ton of juvenile tarpon. We didn't catch any. They were a little finicky down
Yeah.
there, but that's okay. I mean, it is still a beautiful place. There's some saltwater crocodiles down there, but lots of turtles, manatees, dolphin. I mean, just a beautiful, quiet, like truly untouched place to go.
And you said you got the slam. What was the slam?
Yeah, redfish, snook, and trout in one
Okay.
day.
Interesting. Very nice. Very nice. And
Yeah.
so are you catch and release, keep mixture of both?
Yeah, we just catch and release down there.
Yeah.
We can keep, you know, there are a couple of them were in slot size that we caught. We didn't just because we bring enough food that we need to eat down there, and it's
Right.
easier for us to eat the food and lose the weight than as we eat it
Right.
and drink it. But a lot of it's just catch and release. We literally just love to go and do it.
And
It's
do it.
fun,
Yeah.
you know, and you just get the experience.
Yeah, when I went in early March, I hooked up with a guide service down from Bonita Springs 239 Flies, and my main goal was to go for tarpon. And he's like, "All right, we're going to
Mhm.
go to the Glades, juvenile tarpon." I landed one; it was like 20 inches. I lost one in battle, about 36, and my heart broke. I was like, "Oh." He goes, "You had a good shot." That's, you know, so we had a number of decent shots, but wasn't as great. He said, you know, get late April, May,
Yeah.
early June can be incredible. So yeah,
We saw a ton. Now, did you go down there and fly fish for them?
Fly fish. Yeah. All fly
Yeah,
fish.
see, that's again a tougher fishery to do. We were using to target the tarpon, these little mulletrons. They were like a 6-inch little mullet, and then we caught a bunch of ladyfish and had those on, but
Right.
caught more sharks than tarpon.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was, I said to the guide, he's like, we're going to use this, 4-inch white bait fish. And if that doesn't work, we go to black. And if that doesn't work, we go back to white. I'm like, he was like, really like, this is what I'm like, okay, cool. But he pulled like it felt like forever. I mean, we hit like, I thought every bovine in the Everglades, which obviously we didn't hit every bovine because it's huge, but it was very, very cool. All right. So last summer, if I remember, maybe it was fall, you ended up on a national fishing show. How did this happen? I mean, I got up and watched it, and I was like, go, Amanda, this is awesome.
So this was actually an opportunity that goes beyond just the show that I was asked to be on. George Poveromo is somebody that I watched growing up, and then now Wayne and I still watch his shows all the time. He has a Mako. He's sponsored by Mako, and he used to do the Mako Fundaments, which my husband's family used to be a part of. So he was, a well-known name in our household. And I woke up to a Facebook message from him one day, personal. I had never talked to him before. We just obviously watched a lot of his shows.
Right.
Woke up to a Facebook message from him, actual George Poveromo, one day. And he asked me to be on his show. And I was like, no way. It was truly an honor because of, we know him. I mean,
right.
We feel like we know him, right? And so I was so excited. We went down to the Keys for 3 days, and we were down there, and we had 3 days to fish to shoot one episode. It's obviously a little tough in the Keys. It's usually a little windy down there. So we planned for a few different days of shoots to make sure we could get the show done. But this was such an amazing opportunity to be able to fish with him. And he was just as funny and fun on the boat as he is in his shows. And it was really cool. We actually did really well. The first day we tried for sailfish. We didn't get any sailfish. But the next day we fished for yellowtail, got a ton of yellowtail down there. He's known for yellowtail fishing. And then we caught a few kingfish down there as well. So that was kind of our catch right there that you saw. We did really well. And then the third day, because we did so well on the second day, we didn't need to fish.
So did you find it? I mean, look, you've been in television for 6 years at FLA, before that as well. Did you find it amazing how much video and stuff you have to shoot for a 25-minute show with commercials, etc., right?
I mean, I think it was 21 minutes of content that he had to shoot. And he had 2 camera guys on the boat. And it was, we shot so much B-roll. Obviously we're in TV, so we have some idea of what we need as we're making, stories and things like that. But it was so much more than I anticipated. We did shots over again just to make him look good in case he didn't get the shot the first time. And, let the fish swim in the water a little bit. So you got that beautiful shot there, for B-roll. And it was really interesting to see it all come together in the end. Again, like we shoot interviews all the time.
Right.
We chop things up and we make the stories look good. But I watched the episode premiere as it premiered on TV. I didn't see it prior to it. And I was like, oh, it turned out really well. It was really cool.
I think it's awesome. I really do. You also do a show locally at WFLA called Real Talk. Tell us a little bit about that. I think that's an awesome little show.
So funny enough, I can loop it back in with George Poveromo too. He knew who I was because of my show.
Okay.
So I do a weekly episode of short segment. I mean, 90 seconds to 2 minutes. And I talk about what's biting in Tampa Bay right now. I talk to local charter captains. I'm trying to get out a little bit more on the water and actually do some fishing. This is some video of a more recent one I did with trout because the trout are running really nice in Tampa Bay right now. And I talk to charter captains. Sometimes they'll take me out and they'll show me what they're catching. And, I show it on the morning show here. And it's just a fun, lighthearted, segment that, we have a lot of people that fish here in Tampa, and they sometimes don't exactly know. So I give some tips and just just love to catch fish and show that as well. But a local charter captain that I had not talked to before watched the show, and he is friends with George, and he suggested me to George
I
because he
real
saw
talk.
the show and he thought I would be a good candidate for a guest. So it's paid off.
That's awesome. I think that's a great, like, I did this, it got seen, and, it turned into a bigger thing. Now, how often does Real Talk air on WFLA? I know it's a little spotted right now because you're doing some shifting around, kind of like we are here, actually.
Yeah, some shifting of the schedules just a little bit. It's every Friday, should be every Friday. Sometimes I have to skip a week or two because of schedules and availability to shoot things. But every Friday on the morning show, and then they air it in the evening show as well. We post it on our website, WFLA.com. But it's definitely a segment that lets me do and showcase what I love, right? Because the weather's fun, weather's different every day. We enjoy it, but it's nice to show a little different of a side of you to connect with your viewer a little bit more, as
Yeah,
you know.
no, for sure, because you are in a heavy fishing market, like I am here. We have a major river downtown, and then the mountains to the west have all the trout, and of course we're 2 hours from the Atlantic Ocean in Chesapeake Bay, so it is a wide variety, and there's a huge fishing audience here. So speaking of fishing audiences, so this is kind of a dual thing, right? I love what you do, but you're also, how do I say this? You're an oddity because you're a woman who
Yeah.
fishes. I mean, right? We talked about this earlier. Your husband is like, "Oh, Amanda, we got to go again." You're like, "Yes," So there's a bug that you have. How do you convince other women to fish? Who might be watching this? I mean, because fishing is, there's the old white guy fishing again. We want to break that stigma.
We do, because we can do it. I mean, I picked up a pole one day before I can remember, right? And that was really great. But I didn't really have someone that I like looked up to fish when I was growing up. I just started doing it. I mean, I think my mom taught me how to tie my first hook, but I think that, today's resources, if you have any interest in it at all, there's so many more resources today. We learn a lot of stuff now from YouTube. I said it earlier. We watch tons of YouTube videos on how to tie different types of knots and just how to catch different types of fish. I think that a lot of people, a lot of females get grossed out by fish. But I mean, once you get past that, it's a little slime, but who cares? You're catching fish. And every time you reel a fish in, it really does. You're just like, ooh, what did I catch this time? There's always that little bit of a, ooh, what is it? And, there's a little bit of a challenge to it as well, which I think piques some people's interest. But I think just go do it. Get past the sliminess, because I think that is prevents a lot of people like, ooh, I don't want to touch the fish, but just do it. It's fine. and you pick up a brand new hobby. It can be expensive sometimes, which is fine. But I think that you just got to go do it. It turns out to be fun. Now, they call it fishing, not catching, right? So there's a level of patience that comes with it. I do think that I have a high patience level, and that helps. But you're outside. You're not in front of a screen. Maybe you're watching a YouTube video to learn how to do it, but then go do it and try it and learn on your own and learn how to tie the knots. And maybe you make a mistake and you have a knot untie one time, but then you learn and you get better at it. And I mean, I'm 31 and I've been doing it for, I guess, 29 years since I was 2, and it's fun. I mean, it's nice to be outside. It really is.
And I think that you hit a couple of things there. One, you can go with somebody. There is a surprise element, because while you might be in some of your videos going for sea trout, you don't always know that sea trout is on the other end of the line. So there is that surprise. Oh, look, it's a redfish. It's, whatever, that kind of a thing. And then you're right. There is so many different ways to learn now that you can. And I mean, you can start simple by going to a Walmart or Target or just a local tackle store and say, hey, I want to go here. What do I need? And, they can set you up relatively cheap, for the first times out.
Yeah, and it's helpful to have a boat, right? But I mean, I grew up fishing from a dock, go to a local bridge. There's tons of people out there too. And usually the fishing community is really nice. If you have a question, ask the person next to you and start there. And then, book a charter if you want to do something a little bit more adventurous. And then you can learn from the charter as well, which is really helpful. Ask them questions. They're also going to be very forthcoming with information. You look at the tackle and stuff that they use, and it really does open your world because there's so many different things. I mean, you just talked about the fishery that you have. It's totally different from
Yep.
what we have down here. And then, you can go places up north. You can do ice fishing. There's a whole range of
Right.
things that you can do with it. And it's always something different, like our jobs.
Yeah, it is for something for sure. And at the end of the day, like you said, you are outside. You're not doing this. You're enjoying the elements. You're unplugging, which is like the thing that we need to do today.
We all need to do it. We work way too much. We spend way too much time inside. The sun is good for us in moderation,
Yeah,
right? Wear
right.
some sunscreen, enjoy it, soak it up. It literally can make you happier. And just being outside, the salty air cures everything. It really does. I don't know how many people are sad sitting on a boat enjoying the blue water or wherever you may be next to a river and just peaceful.
Yeah, it really is super, super peaceful. Amanda, this has been a great conversation. Even just talking with you, hearing your passion about fishing, it screams through and I love it. So, man, are you going today?
Not today. No, we just got back from our Everglades trip. We were down there for 4 days, still kind of unpacking and
Right.
unwinding from that. But I was looking at the forecast for Sunday. Looks pretty nice to go offshore. We haven't been offshore for red grouper yet, and
Yeah.
they're going to close in the next month. So we got to go out and stock our fridge, and that's what we do too.
Mhm.
We love it because you can catch fish, and then we do a lot of catch and release in the Everglades, but we also stock our fridge and eat it. We vacuum seal our fish and freeze it and put it in the deep freezer and we eat it year round. There's a lot of fish there. Everyone's like, well, what do you do with all that? It's like, well, we take advantage of it and we eat it.
Right. No,
So maybe Sunday.
for sure. Well, very, very good. Let me just bring up your website here real quick. Of course, there goes WFLA. And under weather, you can check out some of the Real Talk episodes here from Amanda Holly. And there's the one that she talked about, talking about redfish and also trout. Just a great fishery down there. Amanda, truly, I cannot thank you enough for coming on Off the Hook with Maddie D and talking about your experiences as a woman fishing and trying to get other women involved in our great sport/hobby, whatever you want to call it. Just get out and do it. Yeah.
You just get out and do it. It really is fun. It really is very rewarding. Again, a little bit of patience, but very, very rewarding every time, especially every time you catch a new fish. It's like, oh, I checked that species off my list.
That's so great. Amanda, thank you so much for joining me. I wish you tight lines in the future.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Everyone, that was Amanda Holly from WFLA. She is an avid angler and a fantastic person beside a great meteorologist. If you're down in Tampa or that area, you turn on Channel 8, you will see her every morning. That has to do it for our episode of Off the Hook with Maddie D. We'll see you next time.